Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this is a brand new year, but unfortunately, my Republican colleagues are still running the same tired old playbook. There are real problems facing our nation. The right to bodily autonomy is under attack across the country, from extreme life-threatening abortion restrictions to bans on health care for trans youth. We're not even 2 weeks into the new year, and we've already seen the first horrific school shooting of 2024. We are a little more than a week away from large parts of our government shutting down, and the immigration system is simply not working because Congress has failed to reform it for over 30 years. And what are House Republicans doing to respond to these problems? Mostly fighting among themselves. Their inability to govern led them to pass just 27 bills that were signed into law last year, marking the least productive session of Congress since the Great Depression. And this year is shaping up to be no better. Their historic dysfunction has prompted multiple Republican members of this subcommittee to complain that they have nothing to campaign on. But instead of laying out a legislative agenda to address the needs of the American people, this committee spent its time yesterday focused on a subpoena of the president's son, chasing conspiracy theories in an impeachment inquiry that has not turned up a shred of evidence of wrongdoing by the president. At the same time, the House Committee on Homeland Security held its first official hearing on the impeachment of Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas, another inquiry completely devoid of fact, with articles of impeachment reportedly imminent in that committee. I do not know whether the chairman of this committee deliberately waived our jurisdiction on impeachment to another committee, or if Republican leadership simply took it away from him in an effort to appease the most extreme members of the MAGA conference. But the decision sets a terrible precedent. Either way, the decision is a sad commentary on the priorities of the Republican majority. They seem not to care what they break or how they diminish the House Judiciary Committee, while they ignore the real challenges facing the American people. They continue to focus solely on fruitless investigations because they have no plan for meaningful reform to the immigration system or any idea how to address any of the other problems facing our nation. Instead of working with Democrats towards reasonable, workable, bipartisan changes to the immigration system, Republicans will return to their tired playbook and use this subcommittee to demonize immigrants. We will hear in an argument largely devoid of facts and wrong on the law that immigrants are a drain on public benefits rather than the lifeblood of this country. As President Reagan said, quote, "Thanks to each wave of new arrivals to this land of opportunity, we're a nation forever young, forever bursting with energy and new ideas, and always on the cutting edge, always leading the world to the next frontier," close quote. By and large, undocumented immigrants are not eligible for federal benefits. In fact, undocumented immigrants pay into benefits they will never be eligible to receive themselves. Because of this, immigrants, both documented and undocumented, pay billions more into public benefits programs than they will ever get back. They are subsidizing the public. While federal benefits are not available to undocumented immigrants, some states, like my home state of New York and the chairman's home state of California, choose to offer the same state benefits to everyone in their state, regardless of immigration status. That is their choice, and Congress has no say in how states choose to utilize their tax dollars. To the extent that localities like New York City face challenges in caring for immigrants arriving from the southern border, many of these challenges stem in large part from the desire of Texas Governor Abbott to sow chaos by refusing to coordinate with local officials and by choosing instead to use migrants as pawns in his political games. I am proud of New York City's history of welcoming new immigrants. We can and we will continue to do so. In fact, I was pleased to see Mayor Adams announce just yesterday that he is reversing all anticipated budget cuts for the NYPD, the FDNY, and likely the library, school, and other social services programs as well, which he had originally said were needed due to the arrival of migrants in New York. Congress should help, however, by providing additional resources, by passing bipartisan legislation to help ease the transition for many migrants, by ensuring that they could access work authorization more quickly, and by taking up other bipartisan reforms to the immigration system. But time and time again, House Republicans have stood in the way of progress, of innovation, and of compromise. Instead, they insist they will only consider draconian policies that essentially destroy the asylum and refugee programs, policies that stand no chance of passage in the Senate, which shows that they are not interested in real solutions. Real solutions require compromise, and MAGA Republicans aren't interested in compromise. Real solutions rarely get you hits on Fox News or Newsmax, and they won't get you Donald Trump's endorsement. Enforcement alone cannot fix our immigration system. We know this because that approach has largely failed for 3 decades. People didn't stop coming when President Trump and Stephen Miller imposed the cruelest immigration policies imaginable. They didn't stop coming when Governor Abbott lined the Rio Grande with deadly buoys covered in razor wire. They have not stopped coming even with record levels of removals and repatriations and funding for immigration enforcement. We need to expand legal pathways, mitigate push factors, tamp down on corruption, and implement smart border security measures. We have to come together to find solutions that actually work and break free from the partisan entrenchments that have kept us stuck in the past. We will need more border control agents, more asylum agents, and more immigration judges so that asylum cases can be adjudicated in weeks, not in years. And we need immigrants in this country. Forget the fact that the farm, that our vegetables would rot in the ground if they weren't being picked by many immigrants, many illegal immigrants. The fact is that the birth rate in this country is way below replacement level, which means our population is going to start shrinking. And the ratio of people on Social Security and Medicare is going to increase relative to the number of people supporting them. This is a problem faced by every major country in the world. Few countries, however, have the means to solve this problem through immigration. People want to immigrate to the United States. They do not want to immigrate to China or Russia. We are very lucky in that respect, and we should promote it and regulate it properly rather than denounce it ignorantly. Sadly, based on the track record of the 118th Congress so far, I don't think that will be happening anytime soon. I thank the witnesses for appearing before us today, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Well, the gentleman has no time to yield back, and as content as I am in allowing the Democrats to make our case for us, I do want to warn them we'll be enforcing the 5-minute limit on opening statements in the future.
Point of order, there are no limits on opening statements in this committee, Mr. Chairman.
There's a 5-minute limit in the House rules, Mr. Chairman. Without objection, all opening statements will be included in the record, and I'll now introduce today's witnesses. We have with us today Chief Manuel Mello III. He's the chief of the fire department in Eagle Pass, Texas.